AARP presents Inside the House with Rochelle Wilkins as she looks at all things caregiving inside your home. If you're caring for a loved one, we want you to know that the AARP's Prepare to Care Guide can be a valuable tool for you and your family. Now, let's go inside Studio G with Rochelle Wilkins for another edition of Inside the House on G Davis TV.
Welcome inside Studio G. I'm your host, Rochelle Wilkins, and today we have a powerhouse inside Studio G. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a friend, and she is an awesome woman. She's also the Director of Operations for the Community Health and Wellness Institute of Novant Health. I'm talking about Miss Latisha Glenn. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Garrett Davis, CEO and founder of G Davis Productions and Films. Now, on the production side, we're touring 4 stage plays, 2 on a national level. The Alzheimer's Association is presenting Unforgettable in a City Near You, raising the awareness of Alzheimer's disease in communities of color. AARP is set to bring back one of the longest running urban stage plays in America. Mama's Girls is coming back with an all-new storyline. Mama's Girls, Caregiving is Real. And of course, Forget Me Not, that has been running for almost 2 decades, is set to make a comeback in Kentucky in July. And of course, we cross the blue waters, and Daddy's Boys, our play on prostate cancer, will be presented in the Bahamas in November. Now, on the television side, G Davis TV. You can download G Davis TV on any mobile device. We're streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. And you can check out our drama series like Mama's Girls, Daddy's Boys, Forget Me Not, My Family, and No Place Like Home. Now, I'm sitting inside G Davis TV in Studio G, where we have television shows, talk shows that is, like Inside the House with Rochelle Wilkins, dealing with everything caregiving inside your home. Also, shows like Let's Talk Tea with Tiffany. And coming soon, we've got a show with Stephanie Johnson Monroe called Village Talk, having those difficult conversations with family. But we're not finished. We are still growing, because coming this fall, we're pleased to announce our very own radio station. That's right, our internet radio station called We Care Radio, empowering our people. Our music format will be smooth jazz and contemporary gospel, mixed in with talk shows designed to raise the awareness of issues taking place in the African American community and communities of color. Weekend programming is going to get very special. We got reggae and Afro beats, blues and Southern soul. So, G Davis Productions and Films, G Davis TV, and our new program, We Care Radio, coming to the family, empowering our people, all designed just for you.
Welcome back inside Studio G. I'm Rochelle Wilkins, I'm your host, and I'm with a powerhouse executive in the house with me. Her name is Latisha Glenn. She's the Director of Operations for the Community Health and Wellness Institute of Novant Health. Welcome, Latisha.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I am so excited to talk to you. We talked a little bit earlier today, and so I have talked to you about your beginnings, where you are now, and where you're going, and I think our audience really, really will benefit from my talk with you today. So we have to talk about the beginning. Where are you from?
So I'm from Hookerton, North Carolina.
Hookerton,
yes.
Where is Hookerton?
Hookerton is in the eastern part of North Carolina, okay. About 22 miles from Greenville.
Okay.
So it's not too far from
I know where Greenville is.
Okay.
Okay. So small town.
Very small town.
Okay. And so usually small town girls have a small town feel, a tight-knit community. Tell me about your community that you grew up in.
So we did grow up in a very, very, very tight-knit community. We helped out one another. We looked out for one another. Anything that anybody needed in the community, we looked out for one another. Yeah. If you were walking on the street and you needed a ride to the store, someone would stop and pick you up and take you where you needed to go.
Wow.
So a lot of networking and a lot of support for everybody in the community.
Absolutely. So do you have most of your family, they're still there?
All of my family still there.
Wow. Mm-hmm. All right. So humble beginnings. Mm-hmm. And so you left Hookerton.
Yeah.
And how did that transition, how did you get from Hookerton to Winston-Salem?
So I was accepted into Winston-Salem State University.
All right, go Rams.
Yes, and I worked on there. From there, I am still here. So Winston-Salem State, I worked on my degree in chemistry.
Chemistry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I enjoyed chemistry and realized that I did need to do something to move outside of that space, and I wanted to get a degree. Again, I didn't know exactly what that looked like, but chemistry was that thing that interested me. I'm very analytical. I love to figure out things, and to me that was a great space to work in.
Absolutely. So you got your chemistry degree, and did you utilize that degree? You know, some people go to school and they get out and then they don't even use the degree. Did you actually work in a lab or do any chemistry?
I did. So I had the opportunity to work at LabCorp for several years.
Oh, okay.
After working at LabCorp for several years, I realized that there was a lot of blood and a lot of analyzing those things. But for me, I felt like I wanted to be in a space where I could be around people. And there was an opportunity that came up at Novant Health in the pharmacy, and I was able to try that out and realize that pulled me more, so that I felt that energy, and that's where I started my journey at Novant Health.
Got you. So it sounds like that small town feel was pulling at your heartstrings, that, you know what, this lab is a little too analytical and it doesn't have that feeling of home, that feeling of helping and taking care and the love of people.
Right.
Absolutely. So, tell me a little bit about, you know, when you made that transition, when you decided, okay, you know, the lab is not for me. I'm going to take this leap and I'm going to totally change directions and get into healthcare.
So interestingly enough, at one point in time, Winston-Salem Healthcare basically served the Reynolds population. And that population, they basically did everything for them. So they made sure that anything that they needed, they paid for everything. So people could come in and get health care for free. That was dental care, anything. And that, being in that environment, allowed me to be able to see like just this concierge type healthcare, where they took care of the patients in a different way. And working in that space, I started off as a pharmacy tech.
Okay.
And probably 6 months within that time frame there, they asked me to be the lead tech. After being the lead tech for a short period of time, the compliance manager and other opportunities started to open up. We worked in the PBM, so we had a pharmacy benefit management department. And I worked in that space for a while, and then they decided to displace people that were in that position. And someone came up to me and said, "Are you interested in being a clinic administrator?" So then I accepted that offer and became a clinic administrator in Walkertown. So I was a clinic administrator for a period of time.
So this is what I have to ask you, because it sounds like this was happening pretty organically. But what was the attributes that those people were seeing in you that were asking you to level up? What did they see in you? What were you possessing that they said, let's get you into this job. Let's level you up and make you a leader in this job. What did you possess?
And I think it was the initiative, like not having to be told to do or asked to help out, just jumping in wherever needed, no matter how long we needed to stay there to take care of patients. If people needed anything, I was willing to do that. And so I think that was the thing that they saw. I think the passion pretty much showed up in just taking care of patients. And again, opportunities started to open up for me in that space.
Yeah. And you know what I truly believe too? I think when we talked, you said that you spent a lot of time around your grandparents.
Yeah.
And so that you know, being around grandparents, being around, you know, older people, they seem to instill a work ethic, you know, a pride about how you do things.
Absolutely.
And I'm quite sure, you know, I mean, talk a little bit about that.
That's interesting. So my grandfather, again, every Saturday morning, it was a matter of making sure that the yard was taken care of.
Okay.
That means cutting hedges, cutting grass. We cleaned up the churches. We cleaned up various around other people's houses in their neighborhoods. Whatever they needed, we did that.
Yeah.
But that's what we did before we could do anything else. We had to spend most of our time like taking care of our home, but then also making sure that we took care of others in the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And you know, I hate to say it, but we need more of that nowadays. We absolutely do. And so, you know, I know that as I introduced you, you're a mother.
Yeah.
You're a wife. We know that you have that family back home, right? And so, you know, what are the kinds of things, I know that, you know, your grandparents have to, you know, see your kids and they're involved in their life, but what kind of attributes are you instilling in your kids now that you learned? Are you, you know, passing it forward to your kids? what does that look like in your home life for your kids?
So one of the things that was major for us was respect.
Yeah.
Just the overall respect for one another, the love for one another. My grandfather instilled that in us every single day, no matter who you were. And I think that part is the thing that I want to make sure that my kids is rooted in my kids. I want to make sure that when they see you, that they're speaking and that they're helping you out if they need help with anything. I just want them to be genuine people who have a love for people and who care about other people other than just themselves.
Yeah, I love that. And then as a wife, how do you juggle, the director of operations and then go home and take that hat off and then put on the hat of wife?
Well, that's interesting because my husband Mike would say that I still think I have that hat on when I come home.
Okay.
But that's the easy part because I get to truly be my authentic self. I'm home with my friend, someone who knows me, and I can be my raw, authentic self in every bit of everything that I do. So that part is easy. I love to cook. I love to fellowship with my family and my friends. We watch TV together. We watch movies. We play games together. I have to put those things to the side because that is important to me.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about director of operations because you have a huge responsibility. Just when I talked to you earlier today, you were like, I'm in the car and I'm driving from one clinic to another clinic, and you're there in so many different aspects, in Novant Health. And I just want to really, talk about that and what that responsibility feels like. Okay.
It is a huge undertaking. One, you want to make sure that whatever you're responsible for, that you're doing a really good job. So as a director, I partner with 15 other clinic administrators, and I want to make sure that I can support them wherever they need it. So if I've hired them and we're working together, I want to make sure that I can be there to do whatever they need and support them and however I can. So we are traveling from place to place. We're listening to what they're not saying. We're listening to what they are saying, and we're trying to make sure that we are doing whatever we can to take care of our patients.
I love it. So Latisha Glenn is the administrator over the administrators, and I want to talk to her more about that. I'm Rochelle, your host. You're inside Studio G. We'll be right back.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back to Inside Studio G. I'm Rochelle Wilkins, your host, and my guest today is Latisha Glenn. She's the Director of Operations for one of the largest healthcare systems in North Carolina, Novant Health. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, so before we went on break, we were about to break down this administrator of administrators, the Director of Operations. So what does that look like? What does your day-to-day look like? What are you responsible for?
Okay, so you're responsible for everything. So when you think about healthcare, we don't see the business side of it, right? We just think about the medical side, but there's a lot of business that goes on behind the scenes that we want to make sure that we're taking care of. So in order for us to take care of the patients, we have to take care of the business that allows us to see those patients. So a part of what I do is make sure that the clinic administrators that I partner with, that they understand the business, they understand our why, they understand the mission, and that they are able to help carry out that mission with our patients. So that's my part. I'm like the cheerleader, right? I'm the one that goes around, make sure that they have everything that they need. Also recognizing that they have families, also recognizing that they have other things going on, but how can I allow them or help them showcase their best self so that we can provide the best care for our patients? That's very, very important.
Yeah, so you're going from clinic to clinic to clinic.
Yes.
Just meeting whatever need is there.
Absolutely, and some days you'll wake up at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and you may have someone who's calling you who has a need. And the goal is to figure out, how do we get that practice staff? How do we make sure that our patients can still be seen? How is it still seamless, even though there are things that may not be in place? And so it's up to me to kind of partner with them to figure out what we need to do. I will tell you that my group, I have clinics in Greensboro as well as in Thomasville and Davidson County, and we are like a tight-knit family. I think that that's the foundation. Whenever one is down, we will jump in and help each other out. The good thing about technology, we can answer each other's telephones, we can check patients in, we can do different things. So the group that I've partnered with, we work really, really close together. We send out messages to say, hey, I'm short-staffed, can someone help me? And we will send someone across those county lines to help each other out. And that's my part.
You know what that reminds me of? Hookerton, North Carolina.
For sure, for sure.
You would go from house to house.
Yes.
And no matter if somebody needs a ride, what have you, you're there to help.
Absolutely.
So isn't that something? And so Latisha, from Hookerton, North Carolina to Winston-Salem State as the chemist, switching gears, now director of operations for one of the largest health systems in North Carolina. You are a beautiful Black woman. But what was that plight like? And how much better did you have to be? And what were some of the obstacles that you can think of because of your color?
Very good. So first and foremost, most of the things that I will say, the challenges that I had, I think existed in my own head. I was a part of a strong family, a strong network, and people who really pushed you to do very good things. But I still had a lot of questions in myself whether I can do these things or not. So one, getting through that challenge of recognizing that there's probably not much you can't do.
Right.
But as it relates to like being a Black female, one of the things that I will tell you is I'm very passionate about people. I don't care. I love just recognizing the differences that we all bring to the table, and being able to say to someone like, I'm here for you, I support you, I'm like, you're giving them your all, and they're still saying that you're unapproachable or you're intimidating when you walk in the room because it seems like you have all your stuff together and they don't know how to say things to you, and you've given them everything that you have. That part can be a little bit difficult from time to time because you know that you're giving them everything. But I think it's the color. I think it's nothing but who I am and what they see when I first walk in that room.
Absolutely.
Versus them getting to know the person and trusting the things that I'm telling them and seeing the things that I'm telling them. But sometimes I still think that that's the challenge that you have.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. I totally agree with you. I have been in rooms where I totally felt like, you know, am I an imposter in here? Am I supposed to be in here? And the answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've earned where I am. I'm knowledgeable about what I'm doing, and I have something to add, and I have value in this industry.
Absolutely.
And you do too. And so as we, you know, you've risen above all of that. As a Black female, you are the director of operations. What would you say to a female that's watching right now that says, you know what? I love what Latisha is doing, and I want to do something similar to that. Yeah. What would you say to give them an encouraging word as to coming up under what you've already done?
Okay, so one of the things I would say is one, trust in yourself. Trust in your strength and what you bring, and trust that you are enough, right? Because most of the times we don't feel like we can do this job and that we are enough.
Absolutely.
I think just recognizing that we have a sense of pride that follows us, and we need to walk in that pride. Oftentimes we tend to try to hide behind that and look the way that other people look and do things the way that other people do those things. And for us, we need to be proud of who we are and recognize that most of the times you're bringing something to the table that they don't know.
Absolutely.
People don't know, and they will see how great you are.
Yes.
So I think just walk in your strength, recognize all that you bring to the table, trust in yourself, and I think have patience and recognize that it's all about doing things in a way that you can be proud of. I think maybe, I don't know, it's so many things that goes through my mind when I think about empowering other women and female to say, let's go forward and don't let anything hold you back.
Absolutely.
I am a problem solution person. I try not to get caught up in what the problem is because I am going to look for that way around it. And I think that's the other thing. Do not let an obstacle keep you from going where you need to go. Let that obstacle be your bridge and help you get where you need to go.
Yes, absolutely. Let your obstacle be your bridge. That's a word right there. Absolutely. And somebody needed to hear that, Latisha. And so, you know, I'm so glad that you took the time to talk to me today. And so when I think about you motherhood and being the wife and director of operations, I just want to ask again, what does Latisha do for Latisha? How do you stay rooted and grounded and level-headed in all that the responsibilities that you have over your head?
Right. So the first thing first, we've talked about my foundation. My grandparents are still living. I have the pleasure of still having my grandparents in my life, and they have paved the way for me. For me, it's oftentimes thinking about all that they've done, and they didn't let anything stop them. So for me, that's my energy. That's where I draw my energy. They've always encouraged us to love one another and to love our neighbors, and that part is the other thing that allows me to continue to press forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it sounds like your why is your family.
It is.
And your love for people. And you know, that's what we've been put on this earth to do. That's what we've been put on this earth for, is to love one another, for that charity for one another. And so, you know, I see that lifestyle, that early childhood learning will take you very, very far. So I know right now you're sitting in the pocket. You're director of operations, you know, but you know, is there anything that, you know, are you just ready for whatever organic happens in the future? Is there any leveling up that, you know, you're thinking about, or is it just, you know, just sitting in the pocket where you are right now?
I just want to be in a place where I just love life. I don't have any big opportunity that I'm striving for. I just want to be, right? I want to continue to do the work that I'm doing. Absolutely. I am truly a community servant. I love being in that space. So it's not a position that I'm looking forward to. I think that doors have opened for me because it has organically happened. Right. But for me, ultimately, there isn't anything that I'm looking for other than loving life, living life, and letting whatever happens for me happen.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, you know, this much has happened organically. So I dare say the sky's the limit on where you're going.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you have any final words for our audience?
Well, one, I want to thank you all for having me. My hope is that my words and things that I have shared does inspire others. I do want to continue to see our young female, our women grow, and I want to see our boys grow. I want to see so much. So one, I hope that these words help others recognize that there's opportunity for them as well.
Absolutely. I guarantee that it has. And I would love to have you back again. Yeah, I would love to have you back again because I see much, much more in your future.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I'm inside Studio G with Miss Latisha Glenn. She is the Director of Operations for the Community Health and Wellness Institute for Novant Health. I'm Rochelle Wilkins. I've been your host. And I want to thank you for your time and energy and your prayers towards Latisha Glenn for all that she's done. And I hope that her words have inspired you today. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Inside the House with Rochelle Wilkins here on G Davis TV. And if you have a caregiving story you'd like to share, contact our offices at 833-443-7388. And to ensure that you continue to enjoy our richly informative, engaging, and entertaining programming streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV, just download the G Davis app in your Apple or Google Play Store.